Hey the Perfectionist, my name's Dolapo, but you already knew that because you're so darn perfect. Well, today we've got ourselves a little bit of a doozy because yesterday, if you don't know, Google decided that they were going to throw themselves in the ring of gaming. Now, it wasn't yesterday. I'm sure there's been in development for a long time, but they finally showed us what it is that they've been working on. This new cloud or streaming service thing called Stadia. And so we're going to be talking about that and why I don't think that a lot of people realize that this presentation just wasn't for them. Alright, so let's talk about this presentation. If you don't know, the Game Developers Conference is for game developers. Duh! And so the Google company decided to give their presentation at this to show the developers that their platform was worth developing for, which could mean that when they're coming up with their next projects, they can just throw it on there, or the project that they already have, the ease at which they can just throw it on there. And this is nice because, I mean, from our point of view, we want to know that games are going to be coming and want to know that developers aren't going to have a hard time porting things to the system, a la the PlayStation 3 and the Wii U. Either way, we know that when you're giving a press conference, you have to know who your audience is. And this one was not for gamers. Okay, and that's fine. Well, why is this important to know? Well, in my field being cinematography and videography, I care about cameras, I care about tech, microphones, lighting, whatever. And when they're showing off something new, like a camera, it's less about what has been made with it and what could be made with it. I don't care necessarily that this film that won this award or whatever was shot with this camera. I don't care about that. I care about things like what does it do in low light situations, shutter speed, does it have an ND filter built in, what kind of lenses can it accept, that kind of thing. Those are the things I care about. Okay, and that's why those buzzwords that they were using during the conference for Stadia, those matter to developers. Those things are important to them. And so when I'm looking at a new camera or a new lighting set or whatever, I want to know that I'm going to be able to create what I want. I want to know that I'm not going to be limited by certain things, especially when I spend my money on it. That also being said, there's no price point. Now, that doesn't directly matter to devs because they'll usually be buying dev kits, which are priced differently. However, this should matter to devs in the regard that their consumers are going to be paying for this, and they want to know that they're not going to be wasting their time making games for this platform if their consumer base isn't going to be able to afford it. But we'll come back to that later. So all in all, you have to accept this conference for who it was aimed for. Okay, so that being said, there were good things in this conference. Some good things. I like the idea that it's going to be integrated with YouTube. The idea that I could be just watching a review for it and just be like, oh, this sounds awesome, let's play it. That kind of thing. That's really cool. And the great thing about streaming games is that there is no consequence for it. It's not like you're going to go spend $60 at GameStop or Walmart only to not be able to return that game. You know what I mean? Like there's just no risk to it. And as opposed to things like Game Pass, when you have to download, you're still taking your time to download this game. You're still having to wait for this game to happen, And that's really cool. There's a lot of social aspects of this that they put out that I really, really enjoy. I like that they're no longer fighting the whole YouTube Let's Player people. They're like, hey, I got this time in my Let's Play or whatever. We'll see if you can beat that time. That's freaking awesome. That's really cool. That's like super social. This is what I've wanted games to be for a really long time, but it hasn't been there. And I still don't think we're there quite yet, but the certain concepts in this are really, really cool. The idea that split screen is going to be handled the way it's being handled. Like the idea that my wife could be playing a game on her laptop that couldn't run anything and I could be playing on a PC or whatever, or she can come in here and we can play it on the same thing. Dual monitors, baby. Yeah. Steppy game up. These are ultra wides, so no games fit on these. It's awesome. And YouTube videos on full screen, just black bars down the side. I freaking love it. There was quite a bit of good there, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I didn't like some of it. I really do. The bad though, we kind of have to fill in because it was really fogged. They were certain things that they didn't show us because I don't think they wanted to show us. They didn't show us things like input lag, even though it's been figured out that it's actually quite a bit high. And for reactionary games like like fighting games, any Dark Souls game, basically any game by those guys, it's not going to be the best fit for those. And I can see that right now. Our RPGs, you're probably gonna crush on this service because you can just sit there and throw your mind on autopilot and you're good to go. You know, RPGs are great that way, and that's why I like certain RPGs. Yeah, it's not gonna be a fit for every game, but for the games that it does fit, I think it'll be great. I don't even think it fits Assassin's Creed. The game they were showing there, that was really bad. If you go back and look at the input lag on that was horrible. And this was your home turf. You know what I'm saying? This could have been the situation which you could have faked everything, but you didn't. And I kind of respect you for that, but you're also kind of dumb for that. Have you ever seen Ubisoft do anything? Okay, and they were in your crowd. They were looking at that like, should have faked it. The pricing is another huge point here. The idea that with your price comes a myriad of opportunities. If you know this is going to be a higher end thing, you should tell people, because PlayStation Now right now is the higher tier streaming service. I've tried PlayStation Now, I've done GeForce Now, and I've done the opposite of that with Game Pass, and I can tell you for a fact that they all have their own benefits. GeForce Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do anything other than the beta test with, which was still freaking awesome. I love that because I was able to play games on my 2-in-1, and if you don't know what a 2-in-1 is, good for you. Good for you. But I was able to play it on those, and that thing was just not built for gaming at all, and I was able to play these awesome games, and I was so happy about it. And even the games that I had that I could play, it played so much better. They looked better, they ran better, it was awesome. And I love the idea of that. I love the idea of being able to play games with your friends and have similar settings as them, even though they have better computers, and you're just like, oh, I have a 2-in-1. Sucks. I hate them. It's so great that these services are coming to light. PlayStation Now is another one, and while at the time I was playing it, it was just littered with PlayStation 3 games, which is this is not bad. I like PlayStation 3 games, but even the PlayStation 4 games that they had on there didn't seem like they were running at their best graphical ability. I think they were all running at 720 at the time that I was playing. So that's just that. I don't think that PlayStation Now, when I was playing it, was worth the $20, but I've heard certain things and it's doing very well, so I'm assuming they've done things to make it better, and that's awesome. I like the idea of GeForce Now and PlayStation Now, and the idea that I see a game and I'm like, hey, I don't know how I feel about this game. It looks interesting, but you know, and you can just sit there and you just hit play and you're in the game. You know, there's no downloading. You don't have to waste an entire hour or whatever downloading this big behind game, and only to find out that you hate it. You know, and I've done that so many times on Game Pass. It's so annoying, but whatever. I go on PlayStation Now. I'm just like, I'm just gonna play it. Just gonna play it. And it starts up, and it's like, I'm like, oh, this is garbage. I'm gonna go play something else. And that's just great. You know, that's awesome. Don't get me started on Street Fighter, because that was horrible. But you know, for the most part, a lot of these games are really awesome. And the great thing about these subscription services is that you get to play games that you otherwise would never have even touched. And to some people, that's a good thing. To others, it's a bad thing. But I mean, that's a really good thing, because I've learned so much about myself, and that certain genres just opened up to me because I was able to try these games for one set price a month. If you don't know, a lot of people, gamers, you know, buy 1 or 2 games a year, and that's it. Like the FIFA Madden people, they only buy like 1 game a year, and they're done for the year. Now, I'm not saying that these subscription services are for casual gamers, because they really are not. If you're spending $20 a month on PlayStation Now and you're a casual gamer, I think you're wasting your money, because you're not playing all those games. You're not gaming as often as I think it would be necessary to make this all worth it. I'm just being honest. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't know that would be it. I think Game Pass is a lot more for casual people, in that $10 a month, that's around what you're paying for Netflix or Hulu or whatever. So that's not really a big deal. So yes, at certain price points, it's gonna make a lot more sense than others. At $20 being around PlayStation Now, I don't know that this is gonna take off to where they want it to. I think maybe cutting $5, anywhere from the $10 to $15 range, I think would be a sweet spot for this. However, I know that people don't like 5s. I don't think they do. So it's probably either 10 or 20. Isn't that weird? Price it around Netflix. I would say if you can do anything there, try and price it around Netflix. Also, why didn't they tell us what the controller would cost? Like the controller, I know they're letting us use other controllers, which is, you know, really cool, but we know it's not gonna be there long. Why? I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the idea that the controller is connecting to Wi-Fi as opposed to whatever it is that you're trying to use, but I guess that's the only way you could really work it around. This just leaves so much room for lag. Like, I'm sorry, it just does. Like, I don't. But once I'm not a programmer. I don't understand how they can make certain things like this. Like, even for the input lag that they're getting, I have no idea how they're getting it as low as it is. And 160, is that low latency? Like, can someone tell me that? Please let me know. Is that what's considered low latency? Because if I'm in a game of League and I'm above 100, I throw my PC out the window. So I don't. Is that considered low? Like, that's crazy. That's wild to me. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Are you guys for streaming? Do you guys care that it wasn't for gamers? Should they have done a better job to aim it towards gamers? Let me know. I want to hear this, because this whole thing has just been insane to me, and there's been a lot of polarity on it. Is it the future? Absolutely. There's nothing we can do. We're going to kick and scream, and there's nothing we can do about that. This is where it's going. But I don't know that we're ready for it quite yet. Well, I mean, ready or not, I guess. Stay perfect.